So because Godzilla x Kong The New Empire has been out for around 2 weeks now, I'm going to rank all 5 Monsterverse movies that have been released so far. Spoiler alert for all Monsterverse movies. Godzilla. What I liked about this movie is that we have great action set pieces, like for instance Godzilla and Kong fighting on that aircraft carrier, the fight in Tokyo. It's just epic. The shots are also epic. I mean, Kong punching Godzilla, or Kong with his axe in Tokyo beating Godzilla, or even just going into Hollow Earth for the first time. Those are shots you remember. Also, I think it's good to make Kong the leading titan basically of this movie, because he has a kind of human face and also has some expressions, which is also cool for Godzilla because then he can still be that mythical force of nature. Also, Mechagodzilla's design was cool. What I didn't like though is just the plot. The plot is, I mean, I know in all of these movies the plot isn't like the main focus, but here it's just stupid. Why do we now need a bad CEO of an evil tech company that makes Mechagodzilla? Also, really all of the human characters are uninteresting and they just get far too big of a plot. I mean, we're watching them for almost half of the movie. Overall, 3 out of 5. Now, the newest movie is at number 4, Godzilla x Kong The New Empire. They did improve on Godzilla vs. Kong. They listened to the fans. There's a lot less human screen time, which is cool. There's one human that I liked in this movie, and that's Dan Stevens' character. He was entertaining, even though he still was completely one-dimensional and didn't get any character development. The CGI on the monsters is great as well, just as in the last one. There's no stupid human bad guys. Also, the fight scenes between the good and the bad titans were cool. The Scar King and Shima's introduction were great as well. And Kong having to play the father of that small monkey that gets introduced in the trailer was cool as well. But then something I just hate that we got in this movie is Godzilla running and jumping around like basically a action figure or something like that. Just annoys me. And except for those introductions, the bad guys were pretty weak as well. Mothra also exists in this movie, but she's there for maybe 2 minutes. I even forgot to mention her in my spoiler review, which just shows how unimportant she is in this movie. Also, some of the fights just lack having a sense of scale of these monsters because they're all in Hollow Earth and there aren't any buildings, so we don't really know how big they are. I mean, there are still some fights on Earth and those are definitely the stronger ones. Overall, a 3 out of 5.
Nature has a power to restore balance. Let them fight.
The best thing about this movie definitely is the sense of scale you get for Godzilla and the Mutos. I mean, Godzilla has never felt that big. Just the scenes where he walks through an airport or the humans shoot flare guns and they just are on his leg. Also, that halo jump was just unbelievable. Godzilla's creature design was introduced here for America and it's great. I like it. Also, some human characters were interesting, like Bryan Cranston with his trauma about his wife. That did catch me. And Eric Taylor Johnson, I mean, he was okay. He wasn't anything to write home about, but it was definitely a deeper character than we got in the next movies. The score is probably the best in this franchise. I really like that. But then the Mutos are the weakest bad guys for me in this whole franchise. I mean, even the backstory is kind of stupid. I mean, humans find a huge egg, so they want to grow it. I mean, didn't they think something could go wrong? Anyway, also the movie's just too dark. I mean, you can barely see anything at times, especially if you like, I don't know, try to watch that on your phone or something. Overall, the plot wasn't really interesting for me as well. It just didn't really catch me. I don't know why, because on paper, it's fine. It's nothing to write home about, but it looks interesting enough. Overall, I still think it's a great movie. 3 to 3.5 out of 5. You know what'd be far more interesting? To have a new subscriber, so please subscribe. Now let's come to the probably most controversial rank, and that's Godzilla King of the Monsters. I really like this one. I mean, Michael Dougherty just knows how to make epic looking pictures. All of the scenes with King Ghidorah were breathtaking and would make for a great wallpaper. You really get the feeling that King Ghidorah is a real threat to Godzilla. Also, I liked Godzilla's home. It had something very majestic to it. The main character, played by Kyle Chandler, was cool, and he even had some character development. I know, crazy, right? Also, how Godzilla goes nuclear in the end is just unbelievably cool, and probably is my favorite scene in the whole Monsterverse. There's not only positive stuff though, we also have quite a lot of negatives, and I understand every person that thinks this movie is not good, because it does have a lot of weaknesses. I mean, the plot is just stupid. Human eco-terrorists want to let all titans wreak havoc on the whole planet to start humanity fresh. I mean, what the heck? I mean, also all the human bad guys are just dumb and have no personality. It's also just a bit too long. The first half could have been shorted quite a bit. Those are all of my major complaints that I have with this movie. Overall though, I really like this movie. It just has some of the best scenes in the whole Monsterverse. 3.5 out of 5.
Is that a monkey?
The visuals are just great once again. I mean, when they see Kong for the first time on the helicopter, or just the setting in that grave of Kong's parents, or just slicing those skull birds, those are just some cool visual ideas that you don't see every day. Also, that feeling of an American war movie in the first 30 minutes, which is a bit cheesy, but then that break to a monster movie with people trapped on an island, it's just great. Samuel L. Jackson as the bad guy is also great. Tom Hiddleston as the leading character worked well, for me at least. Also, all of the characters, no matter how small of a role they had, were very charming and had a lot of funny moments. Kong was well designed, and they also started to tell a tragic backstory about that he's the last of his kind and his parents died to one of those skull crawlers, I think they're called. His fight scenes were very nicely done and fun. Also, I have to say, I really liked the creature design of those skull crawlers. Now, I do have some negatives though. There aren't any cool bad monsters except for the skull crawlers. All of the other monsters are just a bigger version of something we know, like a big tree as a monster. The plot, as well executed as it is still quite predictable, and also just doesn't feel like anything you haven't seen before. So overall, a 3.5 to 4 out of 5. To check out my spoiler review of Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, click here. That's been it for today. Thanks for watching, and bye.